poder de
O
decisão.
índice Bovespa avançou mais enquanto a empresa foi destruída pelo
Moradores se esconderam no tiroteio de policiais e traficantes.
Notícias em tempo real. Momentos decisivos. Grandes coberturas. Você acompanha aqui, Globonews, o seu canal de notícias 24 horas no ar.
Rodrigo Santoro, um ator, um astro. Já filmou com as melhores atrizes do planeta. Seu boneco é o brinquedo mais vendido no Japão. Ele consegue tudo, menos usar o bônus da sua operadora como quiser.
Pois é, mas é que eu não queria outro celular. Não dá pra trocar por outra coisa?
Não.
Tá bom, obrigado.
Só na Oi você ganha crédito. Aí você decide se leva um smartphone ou compra outra coisa. Na Oi você pode sim.
Oi.
Qual é o valor do conhecimento? O Estadão quer convidar você a pensar sobre isso. Hoje, a assinatura do Estadão não tem preço fixo. Você assina e paga no primeiro mês quanto você acha que vale aprimorar o seu conhecimento. Isso mesmo. Você vai dizer o quanto você quer pagar no primeiro mês da assinatura do Estadão. Amplie, questione, atualize seu conhecimento.
Seconds away from the Apollo 11 liftoff. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. We are still go with Apollo 11.
No dia 16 de julho de 1969, no Cabo Canaveral, na Flórida, o Saturno V começou a viagem mais famosa da história moderna. Dentro, 3 homens. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin e Michael Collins estavam começando a viagem que 4 dias depois culminaria com o pouso na Lua.
12, 11, 10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5.
Nós podíamos voar imaginativamente, nós ao longo dos séculos fizemos isso várias vezes, mas fisicamente ir até a Lua ficamos extremamente, eu não diria espantados, mas entusiasmados.
Situações de tensão eram constantes. O que aconteceria com os astronautas se algo falhasse? O retorno, depois do pouso na Lua, foi aparentemente fácil, mas o risco era tão grande que a notícia da morte deles chegou a ser escrita, caso fosse necessário ser lida, pelo então presidente dos Estados Unidos, Richard Nixon.
Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins were the perfect fit. In the training exercises, Armstrong always struck me as a great listener. He would listen to what we were proposing. He was listening to these changes right on the line. But he always liked to not rely upon his judgment, but to go and test them over in the simulator, see if they were good. And then, if it was good, you'd never hear from anything. Never hear from him. If it wasn't good, he would basically use Charlie Duke as basically Charlie'd come in and say, well, we've been looking at this in simulation, we want to make these changes, etc. Buzz was more the extrovert. He was the more more of the gregarious, outgoing, etc. We had worked with Buzz in several missions earlier. We had worked with all of these crewmen earlier, but Buzz was the one who was more outspoken.
Ignition 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4,
Mike Collins was just the other way around. He worked with a part of my team, and when we were actually getting ready to go down the surface of the moon, part of my team went and worked exclusively with Mike Collins, and the rest of my team, myself and my flight dynamics team and my lunar module guys, basically we focused on the spacecraft we were getting ready to take down to the moon.
When they told you for the first time in Houston, Apollo 11 will go to the moon and you will be there, what did you feel?
January of 1969.
Just 6 months before?
Yeah. Well, I told my wife I would just as soon be on a later landing flight because we would be able to do more interesting things. That was one thought. The other thought is the first landing, if it's successful, my life will never be the same.
Neil Armstrong reported back when he received the good wishes. Thank you very much. We know it will be a good flight.
O Saturno V, o veículo que levou o homem à Lua, é um foguete extraordinário. Pronto para o lançamento, pesava quase 3.000 toneladas. Os tanques carregavam, além de querosene, oxigênio líquido e hidrogênio líquido, ambos altamente explosivos. Tem 111 metros de altura, o equivalente a um edifício de 35 andares. É o maior foguete que a NASA construiu até hoje.
This is the command module.
This is the command module.
This is the service module.
Module.
Which is the one with a big rocket engine and tanks and power systems and everything in here. And housed in here is the lunar excursion module, which is a two-stage that goes from the lunar orbit to the surface of the moon, and then part of it comes back to the lunar orbit. It has 5 engines, each one with...
Right at the back.
Yeah, at the back. It has 5 engines that each have 1.5 million pounds of thrust.
Now, looking at it, it just looks very cool. But what do you need to have 5 engines?
Because you have to lift over 250,000 pounds into orbit so that you can escape to go to the moon.
And why not one huge engine?
Well, to build one huge engine would be very long, very time-consuming, and cost an awful lot of money. And
more than 5?
More than 5 of those, by all
massive
means.
Ones,
massive
but 5 of them.
Yes. See, we were in a race, you recall. President Kennedy says, let's go to the moon.
Before the end of the decade.
And get back before the end of the decade.
Right.
So we didn't have time to develop a big engine.
A fase mais crítica do voo é aquela de sair do chão, com 3 milhões de quilos, e em quase 10 minutos levar tudo isso a 35 mil quilômetros por hora. Então imagina que você está cruzando a atmosfera com todo esse equipamento, 45 toneladas de equipamento útil, de carga útil, e você está viajando a uma velocidade que é 30 vezes mais veloz do que aquela dos aviões, dos jatos comerciais.
So this is it. O centro de controle da NASA das missões Apollo. Hoje em dia, não está mais em uso. Enorme.
This is Flight Director's Console.
You were working with analog computers, a bunch of kids, and you put a human being on another celestial body.
Tell you even a bit more than that. And the computer that we used on board the lunar module had 64,000 words. 64,000 word machine.
64,000 is less than a cell phone.
That's less than my wristwatch.
Than your wristwatch.
Podiam cozinhar ali, né? Eles tinham que ter algo semi-preparado. Então eles hidratavam algumas comidas pré-preparadas para que elas ficassem pastosas e eles pudessem ingerir, mais ou menos como se fosse um tubo de pasta de dente que você espreme e ingere o alimento. Tem vários desses alimentos parentais que se usam hoje em hospitais que surgiram no programa Apollo.
I'm the first human to eat Italian food on the moon. There you go. They're going to put that on my gravestone someday. But anyway, that's what I wanted to eat as my first meal. And I worried that Neil and Buzz would eat spaghetti because there's only about 75 items. Here's the spaghetti and meat sauce right there.
Hello, Apollo 11, Houston. We'd like you to press on to star 44, over. Yeah, right. How many words? 11, Houston, we copy. 2 good marks, over. Yeah, okay. Houston, if that's not the Earth, we're in trouble. That's the Earth, and we have a very good view of it today. There are a few more cloud bands on than yesterday when we beamed down to you, but it's a beautiful sight.
These were our TVs, black and white. Black and white. And if we got tired of black and white, we could throw a switch.
And they'll be
white,
green.
White, no, it'd be white and black.
Right.
So we could reverse the black and white, white and black.
Depois que a espaçonave já está em órbita e vão viajar até a Lua, ali tudo é muito diferente. Você não tem atmosfera, você vai ligar o motor uma vez, por alguns minutos, aí você vai viajar até a Lua praticamente por 4 dias sem ter que acionar nenhum motor.
And then there's a major decision after orbiting the Earth for about 2 hours, an orbit and a half, and that's to depart the Earth. A major decision, going to the moon. And then if everything's okay, we successfully enter. Now, things are still okay, we can separate.
Perigee plus 00085 00764 030 000.
When we actually undocked, we said we became Eagle and Columbia. And then we were Eagle and Columbia until the rest of the mission, yeah.
Roger, Eagle, undocked. Roger, how does it look? The Eagle has wings. Roger.
Then we had a navigational problem that occurred when we undocked the spacecraft. It was like a champagne cork. It pushed the spacecrafts apart, and it moved the spacecraft much further down track from where we expected, where we should have started our landing, but now we're downstream.
And your Armstrong say we're going to be a little long.
Yeah, they're going to be a little long.
So who was piloting Eagle?
Commander Armstrong.
From Commander Armstrong. What were you doing?
I was giving him all the information from the primary computer and the systems that were on my side and the abort guidance. So it enabled him to look out the window to maneuver relative to Columbia and then be in the right attitude for the maneuvers to get into a lower orbit and then be in the right orbit to approach the powered descent to land on the moon.
I gave the go to start the descent.
Okay, all flight controllers, go for landing. Retro. Go. Fido. Go. Guidance. Go. Control. Go. Telcom. Go. GNC. Go. Ecom. Go. Surgeon. Go. Capcom, we're go for landing. Altitude 4200.
Houston, you're a go for landing, over.
Minor electrical problem at that period of time. We solved that. And as we started into the descent, the controller said we're halfway to our abort limit, said, hey, the error is not increasing. I think we're going to make it. Those were some of the best words I'd ever heard in my life. As we continue to go downstream, going down towards the surface, and then we're looking for our landing radar data to update our knowledge of our altitude. And while we're looking for that, we hear the words,
Roger, 1202, we copy it.
There's a pause while everybody says, what is this? It's a computer program alarm. It's what we call a bailout alarm. Bailout alarm is one that occurs when the computer thinks it's too busy. So it reverts to a priority scheme, and it only solves and works the most important problem. But we have to be careful.
1201. 1201. Roger, 1201 alarm.
1201 alarm. Same type, we're go, flight. Okay, we're go.
We're go, same type, we're go.
Altitude 1600.
Eagle looking great.
When we heard the program alarms, it was amazing because I had gone through the same program alarms in a training exercise about 1 week prior to launch. And as soon as I heard those program alarms, I knew we knew what to do, that my team knew what to do, and that we could handle them. And we continue working the problem. We now get close to the surface. And when we get to the bottom of the fuel tank, it's sort of like driving a car with your gas gauge reading just about empty. We get to a point in the tank where we can't measure it anymore. And we know we have only 2 minutes of fuel remaining at a 30% throttle setting. Well, there's no way to measure this because the crew's throttling up and down and up and down and up and down.
100 feet, 3.5 down, 9 forward. Okay, 75 feet. Car's looking good, down a half. 6 forward. 60 seconds.
45 seconds.
30 seconds forward.
And once we get to 0, Armstrong has to land now or abort now. And just forward. About the time,
forward. 40 feet down,
he would say 5th.
Picking up some dust. Great shadow. 4 forward, drift into the right a little. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Tranquility, we copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
Assim, meus amigos, a televisão mostrou cenas do primeiro homem descendo na Lua. Está mostrando estas cenas ao vivo.
The 11-foot beds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches, although the surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. I'm going to step off the limb. That's one small step for man. One giant leap for mankind. Oh, that looks beautiful from here, Neil. Are you getting a TV picture now, Houston? Neil, yes, we are getting a TV picture. You're in our field of view now.
Fazer uma transmissão ao vivo da Lua até a Terra e em tempo real você controlar a nave lá na superfície da Lua, receber essas imagens e ter toda essa logística mundial, porque a Terra gira e você, enquanto está conversando com a Lua, você tem que acionar outras estações de recepção de rádio e comunicação nesse network global. Foi a primeira vez que o network global realmente foi utilizado, né?
It's like much of the high desert of the United States. It's different, but it's very pretty out here.
After minutes that Neil Armstrong is on the moon, it's your turn.
Yes. If we had a ladder here, I'd be glad to tell you what I was thinking about, and it's coming out the door, going down the ladder, not making a mistake, and I get down to the bottom of the ladder, and I jump down, and what we're supposed to do is jump back up and see if you can easily, it's pretty long, it's a long jump, and I underestimated the gravity, and I missed, and had to do it again. So now I'm at the bottom of the ladder, and my confidence is shaking because I just made a mistake. I just didn't do what I thought I should have been able to do. You know, that's a little thing, but it takes your confidence away.
There, you got it. That's a good step. Yeah. About a 3-footer.
And now you're awed by what I use words to describe. You're awed by magnificent desolation. Sort of opposite, magnificent desolation.
Beautiful view. Isn't that something? Magnificent sight out here. Magnificent desolation. Powder is very, very fine powder, isn't it? Isn't it fine? Columbia, this is Houston, AOS, over. Houston, Columbia, the Highgate, over. Roger, the EVA is progressing beautifully. They're setting up the flag now.
Houston está informando a Collins, que se encontra em órbita lunar, do que está acontecendo na superfície da Lua. É um momento realmente empolgante para o companheiro que ficou a 114 quilômetros de distância.
I guess you're about the only person around that doesn't have TV coverage of the scene. That's all right, I don't mind a bit.
Agora vamos falar a verdade. Lá em Irará até hoje não se tem certeza absoluta disso. Ioiô Martins, fazendeiro, que assina qualquer promissória com fio de bigode, disse: lá na minha fazenda eu vejo a lua com absoluta clareza. Lá não saltou ninguém, não voou ninguém, não pulou ninguém, não passou ninguém, nem americano, nem russo, nem chinês, nem coisa nenhuma.
Why would NASA fake going to the moon 6 times? That hundreds, thousands of American civil servants for 40 years all kept one secret intact. For those people who believe in Hollywood history, I think that it's not as exciting as the real story of what actually happened.
Why do you think people don't believe that you guys walked on the moon?
Because they want to be considered special. They want to know something or want to have people admire them for knowing something that other people don't know. They know a secret. They know a conspiracy. A very knowledgeable person said that we went to the moon, we would sink into the dust 50 feet, you know? We didn't. But he was so knowledgeable that if we had, he would be very important.
Absolutely.
Everyone would know his name because he predicted catastrophe.
Neil Armstrong, ele instalou um espelho na Lua para refletir luz laser. Que daqui da Terra você pode jogar uma luz no ponto do pouso, ali no Mar da Tranquilidade, e ver refletido um feixe de volta. E tem uma série de experimentos que podem ser feitos. Você pode medir a distância da Lua até a Terra, como é que a Lua se comporta nesse movimento, se ela é explicada pela teoria da relatividade, esse movimento e outras teorias e assim por diante. E esse é o único experimento do Apollo que corre até hoje. Então a prova mais contundente de que o Neil Armstrong realmente esteve lá e instalou esse espelho é que você pode hoje apontar um laser para a Lua e ver esse feixe refletido de volta para a Terra, hoje.
We'll read the plaque that's on the front landing gear of this LEM. There's two hemispheres, one showing each of the two hemispheres of Earth. Underneath it says, "Here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969, BP. We came in peace for all mankind." It has the crew members' signatures and the signature of the President of the United States.
Depois que eles reencontraram o módulo de comando e eles transferiram todas as rochas que eles colheram ali na Lua, eles selaram aquele módulo e desconectaram, que ele é um peso agora já não útil, ele é um peso morto para a viagem de retorno, e aquele módulo ficou em órbita da Lua por algumas semanas, quase alguns meses, e depois ele caiu na superfície da Lua.
Este é o módulo Columbia. Fica dentro de um plástico protetor aqui no Museu Aeroespacial em Washington. É a única parte da espaçonave Apollo 11 que voltou à Terra. Tem pouco mais de 3 metros de altura, um diâmetro de 4 metros e 6 toneladas de peso. Não é muito maior do que um Fusca, mas é feita de um material capaz de resistir a altíssimas temperaturas. Ela virou uma bola de fogo na volta para a Terra. Mas os astronautas ficaram protegidos. Then Apollo 13.
Okay.
Houston, we have a problem. Were you at control?
I was at control.
It was 2 days out. We were about ready to go to sleep. And suddenly there was an explosion.
Now, since 1972, man has not returned to the moon. How do you personally feel about that?
I'm not sure I can put a finger on that.
Politics, money,